fights with passion, and he inspires.
Are you ready for a war?
All right, welcome back to From 8 Arbitration. I'm exhausted, and it's going to sound like it. I've been at a family reunion, and so my ass is wore out. And so I apologize for how tired I sound, but I'm going to make it through it. I just got finished interviewing Mr. Caref and 3 others, and so I will have that on after I put this episode up. I'm waiting on Mr. Henry to call. He's going to read a prepared statement on the tentative agreement and his position on that, okay? And so I'll have that one up as well. Tomorrow I'll have Tyler Vasseur. It's gotten so late that Tyler messaged and said, hey, man, if you can catch me tomorrow. So I'm going to do that. I'll have Tyler Vasseur on tomorrow with Build a Fighting NALC and get their position on this. I know that they're going to start a vote no movement. A lot of people are going to start a vote no movement on the tentative agreement, and I don't blame them. I think that this tentative agreement is the biggest slap in the face to the city letter carrier I've ever seen. I think it's obvious that the Postal Service took advantage of a rookie in our President Brian Renfroe in this tentative agreement. It looked to me, and this is something that I was saying yesterday, that 520 days ago, the Postal Service handed us what they wanted. And 520 days later, we accepted it. That's the only thing I can think of. It's that fucking bad. The tentative agreement that I saw is 100% concession to management. 100% concession. We gain nothing out of this tentative agreement. There will be some people talking about raises. We're going to get raises anyway. They're going to say you don't need to go to arbitration because you may lose your COLA. Those are apologists. Anybody who's trying to defend this shit are apologists, right? You had Renfroe in this meeting yesterday for however many, 6, 7, 8 hours trying to sell this horse shit to the executive council. And that's what I was asking Mr. Caref. I said, who in that meeting stood up for the city letter carrier and said, hey, look here, the city letter carrier is who appointed me. They voted me in here as a business agent. And I'm looking at this tentative agreement, and I see that this is the biggest load of shit I've ever seen in my life. Who in the fuck stood up for the city letter carrier and said, we're not going to send this shit forward to our members because it's a load of shit. It's a slap in the face. It's a step backwards for the city letter carrier. Who in that meeting did that for us? Nobody. They just sat there and listened to this fool talk about a tentative agreement, trying to sell them on it, and everybody got up and left. It was not brought forward by Mr. Renfroe to a vote, a yea or nay vote. Who is in support? Who's not in support? Now remember, Renfroe's the only one who negotiates. Nobody else has anything to do with it. Everybody was left in the dark. Nobody had a clue what they were fixing to be presented with on this tentative agreement. He was the only one. And there's a reason why. He had so many people stand up in that convention and shoot down open bargaining. Now you see why. It's because we knew then that we were fixing to hand the city letter carrier a load of shit. And that's all that is. I talked a long time ago about how we were being conditioned by postal management. And I also said that the city letter carrier stands alone. Our union is not for us any longer. Postal management is not for us. They never will be. They do not have our best interest at hand. Labor does not have our best interest at hand. Upper management at headquarters does not have our best interest at hand. The only one who should have our best interest at hand is our union. And we stand alone because our union has shown us, as of this tentative agreement, that they don't give a fuck about us. The only thing they're concerned about is the Postal Service. And that's all this tentative agreement did, was it bolstered the Postal Service. Here's my issue with these raises and all these bitches that are on social media saying the losses of the Postal Service. Be thankful that we have this job. Be thankful that we're getting these raises because the financial situation of the Postal Service. The city letter carrier is taking the brunt of the inability or incompetence of postal management to do the right thing. The mismanagement of the Postal Service is on a biblical scale. And do you know who's reaping the whirlwind on that? The city letter carrier. The Postal Service is the most mismanaged corporation in the country by a long shot. We lose billions of dollars because of the fat that's in the Postal Service. I remember, I tell you all the time about Carvin Marvin, the Postmaster General, and he came in, he said, if you're not touching the mail, be concerned about your job. If you're not touching the mail on a daily basis, be concerned about your job. We're going to have you explain to us why you're needed. That should have been the same damn thing that happened here. Our union should have said, I want to see the books. I want to see y'all's books as far as what y'all have made and what y'all have spent. And then after that, we will talk about raises to the city letter carrier. What would be acceptable? I don't concern myself with the finances of the Postal Service. That has nothing to do with me as a city letter carrier, as a union official. Here's what the city letter carrier should be making in accordance with all these other delivery people, just like us, UPS and all these things. But we have bought into the financial woes of the Postal Service. We're losing so many billions. We won't be able to survive. Our union has been punked out, just like my business agent got punked out by labor, just like Barner gets punked out by labor, just like our president gets punked out by the Postal Service. We have the most incompetent group on the executive council that we've ever had, most of them. Now, there are a few who saw what was coming, and they brought charges against Mr. Renfroe. And those charges were heard at the National Convention and got shot down. They tried to tell you then what was happening, what was coming. And the executive council, those business agents that interfered with that election and told people that their union positions would be in jeopardy if they continued to vote against Renfroe, those things happened. And now look and see where we're at. We could have gotten rid of this son of a bitch months ago, but the executive council came to his defense, and here we are with the worst tentative agreement that we've ever had in our history. You have a tentative agreement. Management right now is all over us for our office time, right? When we talk about this metric of an hour office time, and I said, why is the NALC, have y'all heard anything from the NALC about an hour office time? Have y'all heard anything about them coming out with a template? How many times have I said that? What I would do if I'm the director of city delivery, of course he's had all of his responsibilities cut from him, is I would get out there and say, here's an hour office time coming up. Everybody, here's what we need to do about it. If I'm the president of the NALC, I'm going to say, hey, what are we doing about this hour office time? It looks to be not contractual. We need to be doing something about it because it's causing harm to my city letter carrier. We've been dealing with this hour office time over and over and over again, and I was saying, why is there not a national template out about the hour office time? Do you know why there wasn't a national template out about the hour office time? Because your bitch of a president has agreed months ago that we're going to do away with the 33 minutes of fixed office time, and we're going to move it down to 20 minutes. Your president knew months ago when we were on here going crazy, raising hell about the hour office time. He knew then that he had sold us the fuck out on this fixed office time. That's the reason why you didn't see a national template. Because he knew he had sold us out, just like that motherfucker sold us out on these stationary events. When I had that grievance going forward, I talked about it all the time, where my business agent sold my region the fuck out on Renfroe's behalf, trying to sell us this Nolan decision bullshit like we're fucking idiots. When I called Renfroe twice, called his secretary, and I said, tell him to call me. I need him to be a witness in arbitration down here. Never heard from that motherfucker. Do you know why? Because he knew. He was selling us the fuck out on these scanners and what management can do to us on these scanners. He knew that he was going to put in a memo that they could watch us and question us on these scanners. He knew then. We were sold the fuck out. We were being conditioned by our own union. Now they're doing away with our fixed office time. We're sold out by our own union. CCAs are still in this contract. We're sold out by our own union. $20 an hour, an embarrassment. Sold out by our own union. 1.3, 1.3, 1.3, sold out by our own union. The list goes on and on and on about how these motherfuckers have sold us the fuck out. Time and time again, they got up in front of people in rap sessions and different things like that, and regional sessions, talking about why we shouldn't have open bargaining. Congress could hear and get involved. It could affect us with the Postal Service if we tell them what we're asking for. It could hurt us if we tell them what we're asking for. If y'all knew what we were asking for, it could hurt us in negotiations. Every bit of that was a fucking lie. Every bit of it was a fucking lie. They knew then that we were getting fucked over with this 1.3%. So everybody that said that, you know those motherfuckers are in bed with Renfroe, and those motherfuckers need to get voted out. Every fucking one of them. We have been sold the fuck out as city letter carriers. When I tell you we stand alone, baby, we stand the fuck alone. Until a new regime can take over this son of a bitch in 2 years. I see people on social media saying, I'm sick of hearing the lines are coming. What in the fuck would you have us do? We can't vote this motherfucker out in 2026. What would you have the Lions do? I tell you what we did. We got up and stood there at the fucking mics for 2.5 hours at the national convention with our finger on a fucking button, waiting to be called on, because your president said we would not hear the charges because he said so. He determined that we wouldn't hear the charges. So we stood there with our finger on the mic for 2.5 fucking hours so that the body could say, no, you don't have that say. We do as the body. We brought charges against this son of a bitch that y'all voted down at the convention. We're putting a fucking ticket together because we're not going to sit on our fucking hands and watch this fucking union go down the shitter. We're putting a ticket together to run against this motherfucker and get him voted out. What in the fuck would you have us do? I tell you this, and this is on my name. The ticket that the CLC's putting together is unlike anything y'all ever seen before. I promise you that. James Henry is putting together a fucking ticket of hellraisers. That's from me to you. And he will tell you that when he's ready. But you're going to have fucking junkyard dogs on that ticket that put the city letter carrier first and are ready to get into this motherfucker and ravage management. When I look at this contract, I said, surely to God we have some concessions that we get, that we're going to get. We gave them the CCA. That was the biggest concession there is. They should have done away with the CCA position. They not only didn't do away with the CCA position, but they only bumped their pay up to $20 an hour. What a fucking disgrace of a contract that is. How in the fuck could you agree to keep the CCA position? That's the Postal Service shoving it up Renfroe's ass right there. The CCA and him buying that shit. We didn't even fight for the CCA. Didn't even fight. That tells you what Renfroe thinks about the CCA. That motherfucker's so out of touch, though. He didn't spend any time on this fucking floor. No time on this fucking floor. And you can tell it by this dumbass contract. He's so fucking out of touch with the workroom floor to put this shit out to us, for us to vote on it. You got CCA still. $20 an hour. What in the fuck did we get? Can anybody tell me? I don't know. What did we get? Did we get anything on non-compliance? Anything at all? One of the greatest threats to us is non-compliance. What did we get on that? What kind of guarantees did we get for non-compliance? Does anybody know? We didn't. It was never addressed. One of the biggest concerns the city letter carrier has, one of the biggest concerns that branch presidents has is non-compliance. Nothing. What about toxic work environment? We gave them the CCAs, gave them a shitload of money because we didn't get shit for raises. We gave them a shitload of money, gave them the hour office time, basically gift wrapped in a ribbon by reducing our fixed office time. That's how stupid this motherfucker is at the top. What did we get? What about the toxic working environment? How about us coming to the table with them and saying, look, this is what we're going to do. If we're going to say that both parties can go in there and check on the toxic working environment, if both parties see that the manager needs to be removed, the manager will be removed. Can we get that? You know why we're not going to get that? Because the Postal Service isn't going to concede anything like that. They will never concede anything like that. They will never say, yes, this manager is a toxic manager, is creating a toxic working environment, so we're going to remove them from supervising city letter carriers. You know why we can't do that? Because the Postal Service doesn't give a fuck about us. They don't give a shit about a toxic working environment. They encourage a toxic working environment because that means that these managers are beating the fuck out of us for money, for time, for numbers. Did your president address that at all? No. No, he didn't. He didn't address non-compliance. Didn't address toxic working environment. Didn't address management abusing us with these scanners with stationary vents. Do you know why? Because he's part of it. That motherfucker's part of it. We are the frog. We are the frog in the water. They turned it up on us a degree at a time. We've been sitting here, and now that shit's boiling. It's fucking too late. And now we have a president who's compromised, who's agreed on this tentative agreement that ain't worth shit. And here we are. Here the city letter carrier is, abandoned. I've said it long ago. Abandoned. You don't have a leader as a president. You have a motherfucker who don't have a clue what in the fuck he's doing or how to do it. You had Rolando starting out this round of negotiations because Renfroe was MIA. He was AWOL. Remember, that's one of the charges that the CLC brought against him. He was AWOL. Nowhere to be found. Rolando started these negotiations, and he brought in Mr. Yates and brought in others. Mr. Barner said that things are going nicely. Renfroe comes back and gets pissed at Rolando for trying to steal his thunder. And here's what you get. You have an executive council that threatened members about voting against this son of a bitch. They're culpable for this shit too. Here's one thing that I would suggest. I would suggest not getting out of the union. I see a lot of people talking about, why would I pay dues? I need those dues now because we didn't even get enough money to make a living wage. So I need those dues back so that I can provide groceries for my family. I'm a single mother. I'm not even making a living wage, not even close to it. I need those union dues back. I need that money back so that I can provide for my family, for my child. You're seeing a lot of that because our union can't even negotiate a proper raise for us, a living wage. I'd ask that you not get out of the union. Those union dues are more than just paying this dumb fucker at the top. If I go on arbitration and I'm representing somebody that management's terminated, the union's going to pay me to do that. If we're going to send in outside representation from the NBA's office to branches who don't have a steward, who need a team to come in and address toxic working environment, address a manager, union dues pay for that, right? Training that we provide, union dues pay for that. It's so much more. It's so much more than just paying this dumb, incompetent, stupid motherfucker we have at the top. It's so much more than that. So I would implore you, I would beg you, don't get out of the union because of this dumb shit we have at the top. Don't get out of the union. Okay? I understand times are fucking hard. They were hard before. They're going to be hard now because we didn't even get a living wage out of this agreement. I get it. I get it. Don't get out of the union. We're going to need you now more than ever. We really are. When the CLC takes back over this union, we're going to need everybody involved if we're going to accomplish what we want to accomplish. On day one, we're going to start educating, and we're going to get out in the field and going after those managers who are toxic. That's what we're going to do. We're going to revolutionize the NALC with those people that are going to be on this executive council for the CLC. I promise you that. When you hear about the ticket, you'll be thrilled. I promise you that. Y'all will be more than thrilled. Because you realize the CLC is serious about putting the city letter carrier first. This ticket will show that they've emphasized putting the city letter carrier first and fucking the Postal Service. That's what you have to do. Fuck the Postal Service. As a union, I'm not concerned about their financial situation as the union. The only thing I'm concerned about is the city letter carrier. We don't have that right now with our president and executive vice president. I think that, and I'm going to say this and I'll be gone. I think that we've been conditioned. I think that the Postal Service has infiltrated our union with the things that I've seen, and now everything kind of makes sense to me. You talk about certifieds in the DPS. When Renfroe said that wasn't a grievance, I think I know now why. Because that helps the Postal Service with this office time. When you see the hour office time, nothing came from national, I think you see now why. Because you knew what was fixing to come down the road with this fixed office time. I'm going to vote no on this tentative agreement. I'm going to vote no on it. And I'm going to force my union to do their fucking job. I'm not going to have them hand me a bowl of shit and tell me to eat it and say that's the best we can do. I'm going to vote no on this tentative agreement. People say, well, if you go to arbitration, you could lose your COLA. You could fuck that. I will not be held hostage by a fucking national arbitrator. I will not be held hostage about going to arbitration. I'm not scared of arbitration. Unlike these dumb fuckers at headquarters, at national. I'm not scared of it. There are people that are highly upset, and I get it. All weekend, my phone has blown the fuck up, and I get it. We have been sold out by our union. And that's all this tentative agreement shows me, is we got sold the fuck out. We have incompetence at the top, and it's shown. We have somebody who has no experience as a city letter carrier, and it shows. We have somebody who's never fought anything through the grievance procedure, and it shows. We have somebody who has not spent no time in an arbitration room, and it shows. We have somebody who has had everything handed to him with a silver spoon, and it shows. We have a motherfucker who was born on third and thinks he hit a triple, and it shows. The incompetence of this tentative agreement is a culmination of everybody handing this motherfucker everything, him not having to fighting for a damn thing. Everything that has happened is a culmination of that, of everything that this dude has done been handed to him, him not having to fight for a fucking thing. He is out of his element here, and it shows. In 2 years, he'll be voted out. The damage he's done will take a while to get out of. I told you a while back, they're digging such a hole that whoever the president is coming in is going to have a hell of a time digging out. Their incompetence has ruined a once great union. It's ruined us. The incompetence of most of these business agents has ruined us. Again, you will see them out here kissing this motherfucker's ass, trying to sell us on this. I already see it on social media. Trying to sell the members on this shit here. Because they want Daddy Renfroe to be happy with them. They're bitches, just like he is. We have forgotten how to put the city letter carrier first in this union. We have forgotten. It is no longer the National Association of Letter Carriers. Months and months and months and months ago, I told you it's now the National Association of the National Association. And that's what this union is. They have shit on us for far too long. They have abandoned us for far too long. We'll stand up. We'll stand up on these motherfuckers like we always do. Because there's one thing I know. There's one thing I know. At the end of the day, light blue will always stand up for each other. And that's what I tell my carriers on the workroom floor. I love those in light blue. I will go to bat for those in light blue. We will stand up together, those in light blue. We've had our backs turned on us by our union. You've got an incompetent managerial workforce in the Postal Service. They will never have our best interests at hand, right? They despise us. Labor hates us. Ops hates us. Upper management hates us. We have an NALC right now who refuses to fight for us. They refuse to go to bat for us. We will do that ourselves down here on the workroom floor. We will stand up for ourselves down here on the workroom floor. That's the reason we're going to keep educating on here. Every fucking Sunday, we're going to keep educating. You have those that hate me and the message that I bring forward as far as we'll fight whoever, whichever side we're going to fight them. The incompetence of the Postal Service, the incompetence of our union. We're going to fight both of them until we get it right. I love each and every one of you. I say that every week. I love each and every one of you in light blue. That's the only thing I care about. And in whatever position I have, I'm going to fight like hell for the city letter carrier, and I will never forget where I came from. In any meeting that I'm in, they will understand that I am for the city letter carrier. I'm not for the NALC. I'm not for the Postal Service. I don't give a fuck about the Postal Service. The only thing I care about is the city letter carrier. And that's the reason I chose to be with the CLC. Those that are like-minded. And that's what we'll bring forward. Okay? So, I'm going to vote no on this tentative agreement. I think it's a crock of shit. I think it stabs the city letter carrier in the back. Plain and simple. I'll vote no on that. We're going to keep educating. I'll educate tomorrow. I'm going to read an hour again from the 6-day count. And then the next week I'm going to read an hour for the 6-day count. We're going to keep educating here. All right. We will get this back right. I promise you. Do not give in. Do not give in to despair. I know that it is easy to do so with the incompetence we have right now at the top. These motherfuckers wouldn't know the first fucking thing about fighting. The top two at this fucking union have no idea what it means to fight. Both of them are gutless motherfucking cowards. Both of those son of a bitches. But we'll vote them out. They're going to be voted out, okay? Everything will be okay. Man, I promise you that. Everything will be okay. We're going to be all right. We're going to be all right. Once the new ticket gets in there, we're going to change course of this union. Y'all are going to have pride again in the NLC. I promise you, you'll have pride in the NLC once more. When you see the shit we're fixing to rain down on management, the first fucking day, the shit we're going to implement, and rain fucking hell down on management for the fucking years of despair they brought on us, motherfucker, it's payback. It's coming. Fucking payback is coming on these bitches. But until then, light blue, we'll stand up together. Okay? We'll stand up together. If it's just us, we'll stand together. All right? I love y'all very much. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that our union's done us like this with this tentative agreement. After 520 days, this is what was presented to the city letter carrier. What in the fuck were you doing? What in the fuck were you doing when you were talking about soon 7 months ago? For what? What in the fuck were we waiting out for? What were you holding out for? To me, again, this is like day one. They handed him what they wanted. That's what this tentative agreement looks like. We took their offer on day one. It couldn't have been any shittier. It could not have been any shittier. But that's okay. We'll vote no on this son of a bitch, all right? I'm voting no on it. I'm voting no on it. Okay? So that's all the hell raising I'm going to do. I got to get to Mr. Henry. But I will talk to y'all tomorrow with Mr. Tyler Vasseur. And then I will do the hour for the 6-day count, all right? And I may bitch again tomorrow. I'm too tired right now to bitch. But I'll bitch some more tomorrow, all right? I'll talk to y'all then. I love each and every one of you, man. We're going to make it. We're going to make it. I promise you. We're going to make it. So I'll talk to y'all tomorrow, all right? Bye.